Hey guys, thank you for participating in this lap tapping community. So in this video, I'm gonna answer some of your questions you asked in the other videos in the past. Hope it helps you to understand this technique more and it qualifies some points. So let's get started. So the first question is, how can I make the tapping sound bigger? I understand this. The problem is that when you tap a sound, when you tap a string, it makes some note. But maybe if you're a beginner, you're struggling to make a louder sound. Like in this case, I'm tapping really hard, but it's really uncomfortable. So the point to make a louder sound is make a bigger, wave, because sound is constructed by the wave of this string. So in order to do that, the first idea is to use lighter gauge. So for example, extra light. I don't know what strings. I don't know what strings you're using. I'm currently using Elixir, but yeah, it works in any strings. So you can find the lightest gauge in a guitar shop. Even if it's just a slight touch, it makes a bit louder than the usual, like heavy tension strings. So please try that. The question 2, how can I mute the left part of the strings? So when you tap a string, it makes a sound, right? But especially this problem is prominent on higher frets. For example, this one. Yeah, this one. Like, if I mute the left part of the string, we can clearly hear the expected sound, expected note. But if I don't mute this unpleasant sound also coming together. So because strings vibrates from right part. Usually string only vibrates right part, but since we are tapping, the left part also vibrate. What actually doing to avoid this type of sound is basically avoid tap higher frets like this one. Because this problem becomes more prominent as getting towards the higher frets, but this problem doesn't happen on 12 frets or even lower. So this problem happens because left part of the vibration happening really close to the sound hole. Consider that we're recording for production music or doing live. You basically use pickups. You don't play just a raw sound, but you use, for example, piezo pickup, which is installed under the bridge, or like magnetic pickups you install around here on the sound hole, or microphone pickup. So by using this pickup, it basically has a different mechanism to amplify the sound, meaning some of them don't really collect the annoying sound. So for example, magnetic pickup or piezo pickup, these pickups are relatively resistant to this problem. So it's worth considering to resolve this problem with pickups. So the next question, how can I fix the buzzing sound on higher frets? So when you tap higher frets, maybe sometimes you hear buzzing sound on the around here because the vibrating string touches the frets. This is because in the regular style, you plucking string from up to down, meaning string vibrates horizontally. But in lap tapping, you tap string, so string vibrates vertically. meaning there is a more chance that string hits to the fret. So for resolving this problem, one idea is to increase the guitar action, meaning make more space between this fretboard and the strings. This gap is called guitar action, by the way. So by doing that, you will get less likely this buzzing sound. Actually, the increasing guitar action makes it a little bit more difficult to tap. You need a little more pressure to make a sound, but again, you can use lighter gauge, so you can adjust the playability as well. So the next question is, how should I set guitar action? So let's say you want to adjust your guitar action. You basically use adjust the truss rod. So I don't know, you can see, but yeah, you can see this like small hole under the neck, guitar neck. This is a Martin guitar, and then the other guitar, for example, Gibson, Taylor, they have a different truss rod mechanism. So please look up the resource on internet. But if you're using Martin guitar, you just here's a truss rod. There's a tool, like there's a bar to adjust, like rotate the truss rod. You can purchase on internet, maybe, I don't know, $50 or something. And if you're uncomfortable to adjust neck yourself, you can also bring it to guitar repair shop. They can also adjust your guitars. The next question is, how do you know which tuning to use? So this is very interesting question that, tuning. In some of my videos, for example, examples, covers, I use a wide variety of altered tunings. Mostly are open E, or open D, or open F, the open tuning, or regular tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E. But some of them are really unique that probably you never heard. To be honest, I don't really have a formula or something. Just just changing the tunings by inspiration. So let's say we are using open E. We can let's say we have this simple riff. It sounds cool, but you can make more variations by changing the tuning, because lap tapping uses a lot of harmonics and then meaning open string. So let's say we add a second, the tension. This is nice. This is nice tension. Okay, it's gonna be like this. See, you can easily change the atmosphere of the riff by changing the strings. So basically what I'm doing is the same with the other examples. So try the other tunings as well, and then enjoy lap tapping. The next question is, what is your favorite tuning? I had been using open E tuning and open D or open F for a long time, like 6 or 7 years. I had to be using only these 3 tunings. But recently I changed tunings a lot. So I don't really have a particular my favorite tunings right now. Whatever tunings I feel comfortable or right or emotional, that musically interesting is right to me. So the next question, how can I do percussive lap tapping? Okay, so lap tapping is basically tapping strings, like this. And then you can mix the body hit, like this sound, this is a bass drum sound, or nail hit, this is a snare like sound, or you can hit pretty much you can hit anywhere to make sound. Probably your favorite acoustic technical guitarists also do the same thing. So the idea is that you have a riff, and then mix the percussive sound into this. So, for example, this is one of the ideas. Keep in mind that making a percussive sound is very interesting, but also restricts like the melody, the capability, because you have to use right hand to make it like touching somewhere on the acoustic body, whereas you want to construct a beautiful melody on fretboard. So this is the confliction happening. I personally prefer sticking around fretboard because I like melodies, beautiful melodies. But if you really like more, the rhythmical pattern, like you sacrifice a bit of the melody, but by using the percussive part of the guitar, that makes more dynamics, abstract feeling. So the next question is, do you by any chance play slide guitar as well? The answer is no. I don't know. I never played slide guitars. The next question is, why are you playing like that? So this is a very good question. Why I'm playing guitar sideways. The reason is that I still believe lap tapping has a lot of capabilities that haven't been discovered yet. So I'm really obsessed with technique for over decades. Maybe I can provide more ideas to you guys, like how you can construct a beautiful, interesting guitar riffs with this technique. Of course, I'd appreciate if you'd try to improvise a riff and then share it with me. I'm basically looking forward to seeing the other guitarists to do the same thing. So I think that's all for now. Thank you for asking these questions. And then if you have more questions, please leave a comment below in this video or in the other videos. I always read all comments. And probably I will do another QA video in the future. So see you in the next video. Bye.